Before we dive into episode number 49, just a reminder that Sam and I are not medical professionals. Our opinions are intended for entertainment purposes and reflect our perspectives for this week only. We encourage you to consult with a qualified healthcare professional regarding medications, mental health treatments, or any medical conditions.
Call your sponsor. Call your sponsor. Call your sponsor.
Bitch, call your sponsor.
Call your sponsor. Call your sponsor.
Yeah. No, there are definitely a lot of healing. There's a lot of healing that is available. And I think the biggest thing that I've seen is that when there's not a guide, and it's like, oh, I'm going to Malibu to do it again this weekend. Like I've seen people that do that, where it's not done for, through the lens of healing in that, where it's, I have friends that have gone to Peru multiple times and been with whatever shaman, but it's now, that's become the thing. And they don't have a program, whether or not they need one, I don't know. That's their whole journey. But it's almost as if it's like, that's the journey, is just being on in ceremony, but there's no actual program behind it. You know what I mean? And so for me, AA really goes with everything, every, religious, organized or not, like, this thing that I read in the medication pamphlet is like, yes, it's between the patient and the doctor. For me, as an alcoholic in recovery, it's like, it's my motivation, is really like, because for me, there's a part of me that still wants to escape. And I think that that's for me, just like the thing that I'm cognizant of.
Yeah, absolutely. And believe me, I really don't want to put myself out there for all the criticism of everyone in AA coming for me, saying you're not sober, judging my program or anything like that. But I also think it's important. I mean, I'm sitting here doing this and I have a voice and it needs to be said. And why am I not the person to say it? But it is in no way, I don't think of it as an escape in my situation. Like it's the root of the tree. And drinking was a solution for that for so many years, to avoid looking at what happened at the roots and how it got grown off kilter. And then I got in the program and I do steps and I get so much healing, and I work with sponsees and I get so much healing, and I go to meetings and I work with others and there's so much healing. And then I can't stop acting out or making choices that hurt my spirit. And we had to go back to those roots, and the motivation, there was no motivation. There was so much pain at doing the same thing over and over, and no matter what I did, not getting different results.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually have been on the other side and have seen so many miraculous transformations of people that are in program and are sober and, have used psychedelics. There's two people I know that are doing, through their physician, ketamine sessions. And there's some of this is not guaranteed, but it's through the physician's lens, it's actually the better option than years on whatever medication that they know in their heart is really just a Band-Aid, And then I've known other people to, with psilocybin and other things, and have experienced miraculous transformations. I'm also know one person that is actually taken off the antidepressants and is doing something with psilocybin that they're literally saying like, this is a whole different world that they're able to experience right now, through their physician. So I believe in all of it. I think that I tend to lean more towards plants and natural things than big pharma, because we all know what happened with the Sackler family and all of that, where the shamans, I feel are so, they're like the wise elders, that are connected with Mama Earth and really seeing the wisdom in the plants, which is from the earth. So I'm so glad we are talking about this, because it is something, in early recovery. I heard, there was somebody that I really looked up to, and, they had shared with me that they had done a ceremony, and I was like shocked, that was even possible. I was like, oh my God, wait, what? And then there was, of course, that judgment, right? Which was my self-judgment. Like, wait, is that sober? Like, is that so, and I'm like, no, they're sober, Um, and I love that Bill did the LSD. It's like, dude was looking for deeper healing, because I know that AA is the first layer for me.
Yeah, he was looking for, he was in a great deal of depression and couldn't get out of it, no matter how many people he helped and took to meetings and started meetings. And he did that. And then he brought it to the elders at the time in the 50s and said, hey, we got to get everybody in AA on this and help them. And they were like, get the fuck out of here. But
I love him. He's like, everyone's got to do this now. This is a new step.
yeah. And he was 100% serious, and where would we be had that road, like you were talking about with the electric and the battery and the gas cars, where would we be had that diverged? I don't know, but they told him, get the hell out of here. And for the last 25 years, if you had told me that somebody did this, I'd be like, they are not sober. How dare they? That is, they're looking for shortcuts, all of these things. And it is, I can tell you with my experience, strength, and hope, it does not feel good. So if you think I'm going to feel good and be tripping and get out of my problems, it doesn't feel good. It's not a miraculous fix, by the way. There is no overnight fix of how you are. And if you go into it thinking it's an overnight fix, that is not what it is. It is way more subtle. And mine was 3 years ago. And I have had, I think, a better program in the last 3 years, a better relationship with myself and with others and with my environment since then. And what was the other thing? Oh, I have no desire to drink for the rest of my life. Any thoughts of that was there for the first 26 years, even a little nibbling that was like, maybe we could, that has been smashed from that experience. And I absolutely have no desire to drink ever again in my life.
Thank you for pointing that out. That so yes, I've witnessed miracles, and it hasn't been literally, it's not like one and done. It's been it's a journey. It's a process, and like being on the other side, it's I've witnessed people, and it's been a process. It's not an overnight situation. So I appreciate that. Anything else we want to talk about for this topic?
I mean, I had a sponsee that actually, one of the girls I sponsored said, I'm going to send somebody to you that's thinking about doing this, and I know that you have experience with it, right? So she sent the woman to me, and I gave her my experience. She went and did a journey with my same therapist, and she decided she no longer had a relationship with AA afterwards. She was saying that during her journey, and afterwards she decided that she was, going to drink alcohol. and she went on a bender, and she's still out there. She's not on benders anymore, and she's still out there. So there is, as with everything, it's equanimity. There are pitfalls. There are enlightenment, and nobody can tell you where yours would go or if you need it. And there.
Yeah, that's important. It's thanks for sharing that. And I think that that's, some of, like I had it for this, it was contempt prior to investigation. When I was early in recovery, and I'd heard that this person had a ceremony with ayahuasca, and I was totally taken aback. And this is definitely something that I've shifted and actually feel more strongly about, because I've seen the other side of it, and it's the way that the medical community, there's this whole medical community, do you know what I mean, that is pushing for this. And it actually makes a lot of sense because it's not big pharma that's making money. There's like the motive
Yes.
is money. The motive is healing.
Well, how much sense does it make that the earth provides this free, of course?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we have people that make it illegal, and then we have to buy chemical big pharma at all these markups, and maybe that will help you. It's just like, wait, what are we all doing here? This is nuts. And I literally, I don't have any desire to ever do it again. And I do think it's more for people who may have experienced some CPTSD or trauma healing. But yeah, I'm with you.
And for some people that don't know, CPTPS, yeah.
Complex post-traumatic stress disorder. So everyone's heard of PTSD, which is what, we heard of when veterans from the war will come back and they'll like hear shots fired and it triggers them. And CPTSD means that, years upon years, you experienced belittling or physical abuse or verbal abuse to the point where you don't feel safe not being abused. So you will abuse yourself if no one is abusing you.
There's a movie actually on Netflix. It's the Michael Pollan one where it talks about all of this, and I think it's 4 different episodes, and it's really it's amazing actually, and having known, family members that are physicians who went into medicine to help people, their number one complaint was that they needed to report to the penny pinchers, insurance companies, to justify why they were ordering certain tests for certain patients because it wasn't protocol, and their whole issue with being a doctor in today's world is that they were reporting to people who weren't physicians, who were really just looking out for the bottom line and not for the health and well-being of the patient.
Yeah. I feel like that so much of that is happening right now, and it's for another day or another conversation, but there's so much disillusionment for me right now of thinking that people want to have everyone's best interest and then getting down to like, it's the bottom line. And I think it was Jon Stewart that said, we pay all this tax money for our healthcare. And what they do is they give it to this third person, and then they charge us for our healthcare. And it's like, wait, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Crazy. It's crazy. So I'm glad we talked about this. I've gotten a lot out of it. I am so grateful that you shared your experience with this and how it's helped. I think like for me, this journey is, about identification, having the awareness, and then I know for me, as I stick around, I become open to whatever spiritual, whatever other things that are available to help with that healing.
Yes. And we are going to have links to the pamphlets, and we're going to have a disclaimer for this one. No worries. And also, we will have our Gmail address if you have questions, comments, concerns on this. If you want to hear more about my experience, I'm happy to share that. If you want to tell me all kinds of mean things about how I'm not sober, you can do that as well. It's really whatever. Our email is bcysponsor@gmail.com. And also, we want to give a shout out and remind everyone to go to Apple, Spotify, stars, comments, anything you can do. That'd be great.
Awesome. I we're at our final 5, and my question is what is something that you are grateful for today that you didn't see in the moment, as there was no gratitude around it in the moment? Does that make sense?
It does. I really think I just felt like when I got sober that what I wanted was to feel good all the time, and that meant God loved me, and it was just about being happy and positive and feeling good and everything going my way. And I think today I'm actually grateful for the fact that that's not what it is. It is being an observer of my internal self and my reactions and how I love and how I grow and how I feel hurt and why I feel hurt and how I experience joy and in watching others experience joy or pain. And I'm actually grateful to have the whole human experience. And I did not think that would be on the bingo card when I first got sober. How about you?
Yeah, similar. I think the two things. One is, when I first got sober, the last place I wanted to be was back at home. And I hated it. And now looking back, it's like, God, it was so brilliant. I don't think there was any other way that I could have, it's the only way I know. And it was absolutely perfect, because I was immediately removed from people, places, and things. And then I think more recently, it's, all the things. I had coaches that used to say like, oh, like my top 2 resentments, they would always say like, oh, these are your Zen masters, Sam. These are the things that actually shape you into being, help shape you into being the person that you are, that we love, and, I think about the bullying where it's like, it was awful. And I see how that's made me more inclusive and compassionate and loving. And so, yeah, I'm learning to be grateful for everything, because God is everything, versus me trying to judge. Yeah.
That's
Ta-da.
beautiful, beautiful, darling. All right. Well, catch us on the next one. And, bitch, call your sponsor.
Thanks, Misty.
Thanks, Sam.
Your
Call your
sponsor.
sponsor.
Call
Bitch, call your sponsor.
your sponsor. Call your sponsor.
New episode tomorrow. Send us an email, bcysponsor@gmail.com.